Since most of us are at home for the next couple of weeks, I wanted to provide a way for us to be able to move together and continue on with our goals, whether those are pelvic health, postpartum. I teach a class twice a week here on the military base that is for postpartum moms, and I want to make sure that they have the ability to continue on with that class. So we are in week 9 of that class, which is preparing our bodies for jumping. So the great thing about this class is that every exercise has 3 different, my dog's gonna be in and out of the video. Every class has 3 different levels for every exercise. So it's up to you to pick your level, and you can switch levels throughout the class. You're not stuck to being in one level, but you're gonna look for things like urinary leakage, pelvic or abdominal pressure, or pain. And I don't want you to feel any of those things during any of the exercises. This class has 3 blocks of exercise. So you can do it all together as one big workout like we would in class, or you can split these up to mini workouts throughout your week. So 3 exercises in the first block. We'll do 40 seconds on, 20 seconds of rest, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds of rest, and then we'll repeat that block again, and then you'll have a minute rest until we go on to the next block, or if you're splitting that up, that will be your workout for the day. At the beginning of every class, we do a core connection module, and this is really to prepare our muscles to react effectively for the exercises that we're going to be doing that day. So for jumping, we want our pelvic floor to be able to react to load and impact. We also want to prepare our muscles how they should be working before we take off and when we land, and then also our pelvic floor to be able to function in different hip ranges of motion, because everything that we do is not front to back. So if you are interested, or if you're newly postpartum, I recommend doing the core connection part of this as your workout for the day. So it normally takes about 10 to 15 minutes at the beginning of class, and then we'll move on to the workout. So to start core connection, we're just starting with breath. So find a comfortable place on your back. Put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, or even hands around your rib cage, and we're just going to take deep breaths, expanding all the way around our ribs. Inhale, expand your belly. Exhale, let everything come back down. Inhale, expand your pelvic floor. Exhale, blow out your mouth. Inhale, expand belly and pelvic floor. Exhale, squeeze and lift pelvic floor. Put your hands inside your hip bones. You should feel a gentle tensioning underneath your hands when you exhale. So not a big muscle engagement like you're doing a crunch, but just a gentle motion. Inhale, expand. Open, exhale. Pull in pelvic floor. Feel a gentle tensioning. Inhale, expand. And exhale. Gently pull in your lower belly like someone is tickling you. And one more time, inhale, expand. Exhale, gently pull in lower belly and squeeze pelvic floor. Good. So that is the hardest part of today, is feeling that coordination of inhalation, expansion, instead of inhalation, sucking in. And then when you engage your core and your pelvic floor, I don't want you to contract here like you're doing a sit-up, but instead it's a gentle squeeze and lift of your pelvic floor and activation of your lower belly. That same thing on hands and knees. So let's just do 5 breaths here with your abdominals hanging against gravity. That's what we want to feel, is some full relaxation here. So root into your hands, feel confident here. Inhale, expand everything. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly. Feel good and supported in that position, and see if you can hold it and take a few breaths. Good. Inhale, release and expand. Exhale, pull in pelvic floor and lower belly. Inhale, release and expand. Exhale, pull in pelvic floor and lower belly. And then let's take 3 breaths here. Hold it here and inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and release. Awesome. Shake it out if you need to. Let's do one more. Inhale, expand. Exhale. Engage pelvic floor and lower belly and hold for 5, 4, count with me so you're breathing, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Lean on back if you need to. And come on back up. This next exercise is about engaging your pelvic floor and teaching our pelvic floor that it can maintain engagement as we move our hips in different ways. So normally I don't want you to think about holding your pelvic floor while we're exercising. We're teaching our pelvic floor here. It's more of a rehab principle. So pull in your pelvic floor, squeeze and lift, and see if you can hold that while you lift one leg back down and relax. Squeeze and lift, hold it, lift like a fire hydrant, and back down. We'll do 5 on one leg. If you can hold the pelvic floor through all 5, that's great. Then we'll just make sure to stretch our low back and pelvic floor. So inhale, relax. Exhale, squeeze and lift, and hold. 3, 2, 1. So if you can only go halfway through that range of motion, keeping your pelvic floor engaged, then that's fine. Go as far as you can, keeping the pelvic floor engagement, and then coming back down. So let's move to the other side. So inhale, relax everything. Expand, exhale, squeeze pelvic floor, lift, lower belly, hold that stable, and then we're raising left leg up for 5, squeeze, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good, let's take knees wide, toes together. Relax that pelvic floor, inhale big, feel like your hip bones are spreading apart. And one more time. Good. Again, you shouldn't feel any pelvic pain or pressure throughout this. Now we're going to work on coordination of our pelvic floor through an explosive change in movement. So as we're working on jumping today, I want you to think about as we go down, inhale, relax. Right before we go up, exhale, squeeze together. So we can say exhale with effort or blow before you go. Any of those cues are going to help release pressure so we're not bearing down through the harder part of a movement. So we're going to practice this first on hands and knees. You can tuck your toes here or keep them down. I'm going to tuck. Reach forward. So here I'm going to inhale to prepare. And then right before I shift forward into a half plank, I'm going to squeeze my pelvic floor right before the movement. Inhale and exhale. Good, hold. Relax, inhale. Try to think of this as an explosive movement. Exhale, hold that pelvic floor and lower belly. Good. Inhale, relax. Exhale. Good. You can make the shape of your mouth like you're blowing through a straw. That automatically should pull in pelvic floor and lower belly. Let's try 2 more. Inhale down. Exhale. Good. Hold and feel nice and stable there. Inhale. Exhale. Good. So we're really just working on the coordination of our pelvic floor. You can do about 5 more of those if you want to. And then the last thing that we're going to do is just a little hip warm up, if my dog gives me room to do that. A hip warm up, so the more rotation mobility we have of our hips, then the more our pelvic floor can be able to relax and contract and respond and react to changes in pressure, which is what we want. We don't want to hold our pelvic floor tight the entire time we're working out. We want to retrain it, and then we want to let it do its thing, but we need good hip mobility. So let's point our feet to the left. If you're already feeling a stretch here, you can just hang here. If this feels good to you, then I'm going to work on exhaling before we come up onto our knees in this position. So exhale, come up, good. Let's try 2 more. Good. And 1 more. For newer moms, obviously this is week 9 of the class that I've been teaching that we're throwing you all into. If this does not feel good, let's go just on your bottom, 1 ankle over 1 knee, and then just kind of press your chest forward to feel a good stretch on the outside of your hip here. It's the same muscle that we're working on stretching in just a little more accessible area. So you can hold that for around 30 seconds, making sure to deep breathe the entire time. And then let's go to the other side. So hanging out here, if this feels like a stretch for me right now, feels like a stretch on the front of my hip over here actually. So let's go ahead and bounce up from this. Ready? And exhale, we're squeezing and lifting right before we drive our bottom up. Good. You may have to think harder for this than you think you should. And that's okay. 2 more. Good. Think about it. Visualize it. And back down. Good. And again, if that did not feel great for you the first couple of times, we're just coming here to a hip opener. You can also hug that leg. Okay, we're ready to move on to the workout. If this felt like enough movement for you today, that's great. Let's save the other 3 blocks for later days. Equipment that you'll need for this workout is a pair of dumbbells or at least 1 dumbbell and a weight that will feel heavy after 40 seconds. So I'm actually just using my impact with 1 water bladder inside, and because we don't have dumbbells at home. And then a band, a longer band that you can loop around a table, a doorway, anything like that. And you may not need this if you are good with dumbbells. And then some weight bench, we're using a coffee table or a sturdy chair, the back of a couch, any kind of platform that you feel fine putting your weight on. We're not going to be stepping up today, it's just your hands. So for this first block of exercises, it's 3 exercises. You pick your level, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. I'll demonstrate every modification for each exercise first, and then we'll go through a full block here. So the first exercise is a squat jump. So you may think, I'm not ready for that, Laurel, and that's fine. The first modification that we have here is just a squat, and then you're relaxing pelvic floor right before you come up, and then you come up to toes as you exhale and pull in pelvic floor. So it's down. Okay, that's level 1. Level 2 is using a hard surface like a table, the back of a couch, a chair, and we're gonna squat down. And then on the exhale, plant your hands, and we're gonna use it to take some of the load off of our jump and landing. So inhale down, exhale, and land softly. It's okay. Inhale down, exhale, and land softly. Down, 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 down. So the goal is put as much weight in your hands as you need and continue to land softly, but that's one way to start loading your pelvic floor, getting coordination of your pelvic floor jumping. If those feel good to you, or if you're ready to start jumping, the third level is, if those feel good to you, is a full squat jump. So we're gonna go all the way down and jump up, land softly each time, getting full extension at the top. So hip extension, toe extension, knee extension, and then land in like a ninja, okay? If you experience any leakage with this, I want you to go back down to another level. If you can do a couple without leaking, do the couple and then go back down. The second exercise in the first block is a single arm row. So I want you to get a good bend in your knees, pull in your lower belly right before you pull, okay? So we're just pulling the elbow close by, not allowing our core to rotate, and we're just gonna be here on one single arm for 40 seconds. That's level 1. Level 2, Level 2 is take your dumbbell and you're gonna use a hand support. You're in this bent over position from your hips. Your lower abdominal are supporting you in this area right before the row. So you're coming up here with the support. Level 3 is kick a leg back. You're supporting yourself here without a hand. Okay, so right here for 40 seconds. So you're gonna feel core and arms the whole time. Okay. So side plank level 1 is we're gonna kick our feet behind us so our knees and our hips are in line. Plant our hand under our shoulders and then raise those hips up to the ceiling here, okay? So I'm really focusing on pushing my hips up and I'm just here for 40 seconds. You can also do this on the elbow, just like that. Second level is an elevated side plank, okay? So again, on your stable surface, you're gonna stack shoulder over hand and just walk the feet out and really focusing on rainbowing those hips up so it's not just a shoulder workout, it is a core workout. Third level is all the way down, legs extended, hand underneath your shoulder. You can either stack feet or alternate feet one in front of the other, but we want to focus on opening up our chest, raising our hips up. And again, if you can do this for 20 seconds and then you need to drop down to your knees, that's great. Block 2, we have lunges. So that could be landing lunge, working on that landing form. We have tricep dips or extensions. And then we have a bare knee hover hold. So again, another endurance ab exercise. So exercise 1, level 1, you're just going to kick a leg back. So we're going to do a stationary lunge. If this is too far, if you're feeling any pubic bone pain, I want you to shorten your stance. You can also hold on to a chair next to you. We're gonna go down for 3 seconds, up for 1. So down, 3, I need to go back further for my comfort. We're gonna go down, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, squeeze the pelvic floor, up, okay? So we're working on that coordination of jumping. Exhale, down, 3, 2, 1. I meant to say inhale. Inhale, down, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, up, okay? Most of my weight is on this front leg. Right there, we're sticking with one leg forward for 40 seconds. Second level is just a forward lunge, forward and back. So we're going step, down slow, and then when I explode up, I'm coming back to standing. So step, 3, 2, 1, back to standing. Step, 3, 2, 1, back to standing. Just like that. Working on that coordination before the explosion. Third level is working on loading that pelvic floor with impact. So I'm actually gonna bring a knee up. Watch out, Samson, you're gonna get scared. I'm gonna let myself fall forward and land on this leg. So we're going to land just like that. And exhale as you land. It's okay to soften this back knee just like I did. And then we come up, okay? If you need to come up and kind of touch down to regain your balance, that's just fine. Okay, second exercise of this second block is a tricep extension. Okay, so still working on an explosive coordination. We're gonna bend our elbows back. First level is the knees are bent, and then exhale, coming up. Inhale down, exhale. You should feel this in your pelvic floor because as I go down, we're getting more hip flexion, expanding the pelvic floor, and then exhale, coming up. Level 2 is legs are straight, so more on the arms. Again, exhaling up. And level 3 is a tall kneeling tricep extension. So you're gonna take your weight behind you. Watch your rib cage so I'm not flaring here. I'm tucked. I'm nice in line. Armpit, ribs, hip are stacked, not arched. Here, and then down and up, just like this. It'll feel more core in tricep than the other two. Third exercise of the second block is in a knee hover, lower belly endurance. So you're gonna go hands and knees. Level 1 is right hand, left knee. You're gonna press in. First, you're gonna prepare your core by pulling in pelvic floor, lower belly, and then press for 40 seconds. If you need a yoga block here, that's great. This is an endurance exercise, but this is level 1, okay? Level 2 is you're gonna tuck your toes, pull in that lower belly pelvic floor every time you lift your knees. Relax, engage and lift. Relax, engage and lift, okay? Third level is we're working up to a plank here, so we're shortening our body to give our core a chance. Pulling in lower belly, pelvic floor, and holding here for 40 seconds. Keep that back flat, re-engage and engage your lower belly as you need to. And then do a nice child's pose during that 20 seconds until round 2 starts. Third block, we're working on that loading control with either a shuffle or a plate tap. And working on our coordination with the calf raise. Second exercise is a press, single arm press laying down. We can make that a little bit more challenging for your core. And then third is any variation of a deadlift, from a good morning to an elevated deadlift. first exercise of the block, modification 1, we're just going wide. I do want your toes to point forward on this one. That loads our glutes and our pelvic floor in a different way than if our toes are out. So let's go toes forward, and we're going to just do a calf raise, working on that explosive breath. So when I raise up on my toes, I'm squeezing my pelvic floor right beforehand. Okay, modification 2 is a shuffle. So I don't want you holding your pelvic floor the whole time here. It should be reacting automatically. You can change the distance that you're shuffling based on any symptoms that you may be having. So a shuffle, I'm stacked shoulders over hips, and we're just here shuffling, okay? So after shuffles that were more stacked, that's an advantage to our pelvic floor and core. Level 3 is plate taps. We don't have a plate here. So a weighted plate, imagine it's on the ground in front of you. You have 1 or 2 inches in front of you that you need to lift your toes. This way, our shoulders and our hips are still gonna be stacked, but our legs are gonna be going out in front of us. So that's like this, okay? Different than a shuffle where we're stacked, right, like this, 40 seconds. Okay, nice and soft landing. Second exercise of this block is just a single arm press. So you can use any weight that's challenging to you. I want you to work on focusing your exhale as you press up and supporting yourself. So level 1 is just gonna look like this. Level 2 and 3, there really isn't a difference here, is we're gonna go up, squeezing our butt, squeezing our pelvic floor as we hold into a single arm press for 40 seconds. The next round through, the second round through this block, you'll switch arms. Third exercise of the third block are different deadlift variations. So don't be intimidated by a deadlift. We're just sending our hips back, keeping our back straight, different than a squat where we're bending our knees. So send your hips back. At this bottom point of the deadlift, if you will, is where you want to exhale, pull in the lower belly and pelvic floor, and then stand up. This first modification is just a banded good morning. So I'm standing on the band, holding it so it's tight, and I can get good engagement there with tension throughout the whole exercise. If you're ready to move on to you having to control the tension a little bit more, elevated surface, it can be shorter than this, you may want to. Then you're gonna do 2 dumbbells, hold here. This is your deadlift position. Exhale, and then lift up, okay? Exhale, and then lift up, just like that. The next variation could be that you go further down, or as we're moving towards running next week, I want you to go staggered, so most of your weight in the front leg, back leg is like a kickstand, bent a little bit, but we're still sending the hips back, and you're gonna feel it load that hamstring, glute on this leg that's in front. Next round through, you'll just switch legs. You're gonna do that for 40 seconds.